All right, guys. So now we're going to kick it off to CSS. CSS, or cascading style sheets, is kind of everything that's cool about a website. HTML is just words and pictures and structure and order, and CSS is everything that makes it look good, basically. And we're going to keep those two things very, very separate. So when I gave you a download on my site that just says CSS practice site. Go ahead and download that and extract it to your desktop. When you double click the download, just click on the folder that appears, and then 7-zip should pop up. And if you just click there's like a blue minus sign that says extract, and you can extract it to the desktop or the Y drive or your flash drive, wherever you want to put it. To pick any of those options, because it will default to extract it to the downloads. To pick any other option, there's just a symbol to the far right that has like 3 periods, and just click on that 3 period thing and it'll show you more options. Okay, enough jibber jabber, let's get down to business. I created a site here, and I've got an index.html, an image, and a CSS. One thing that some people are getting a little bit confused on is when I double click this, it brings up a website. And so sometimes people are like, well, but where's my code, right? So if it brings up a website, that's no big deal. No sweat off our back. We're just going to right click and go open with Sublime. Okay, cool. So now I have my Sublime open. Another thing that was kind of getting people is, sure, I've got one website, but I want to get like 7 websites here. You can see this one. This is going to be a food one. I want, let's say, a recipe.html and a photo.html, right? So the way to do that is you can do Control N to get a new tab, or you can go to File, New File, whatever floats your boat. And I'm going just to save this as, photo.html, and I'm going to save the next one. So I'm going to make a new file and save it as, forget if there's an S or no S. I think no S. Because I feel lazy this morning. It seems like that'd be the way I go. Yeah, Roger. Okay, cool. And you can see I'm all here. You've noticed that I've got like my 3 HTML files, and they're buds. They hang out right next to each other. Now, if these HTML sites need anything, they're going to go into this image folder, or they're going to go in the CSS folder. All of my CSS is going to be located in this. Right now, I just have 1 CSS file. Soon, we'll have 3? Yeah, 3. So this is the structure that all of your website should have. Basically, you're gonna have an image folder, maybe you have like a movie folder, maybe you have a sound folder, and then you're also gonna have a CSS folder. All of our HTML is gonna stay separate, and there will be nothing else cluttering up in here, right? So it's just HTML and folders. Okay, so I've got my website, and we are very familiar about how to make a site like this, right? I've got a navigation, I've got this giant French onion soup, this creme brulee that has like, it's just very, very zoomed in right now, and oh, scallops, awesome. Well, I don't really want all those pictures that big, so I need to find some way to change the size. Now, previously what we did was we said, here's my source, I'm going to go in here and do width equals, let's say I say 200, right? What they're referring to there is 200 pixels, and so when I refresh, there it is, 200 pixels. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this here. I know you guys know how to do that, and it's awesome, but we want to keep, this is just the stuff, and what I want to do is I want to make the stuff look cool, but I'm going to call on it from my CSS. So I'm going to open up this file in here called main.css, right? And I'm just going to drag it in here because I'm going to use it a lot. Okay, right now there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it. And what I want to do is I want to mess with the images. So the way that CSS works is I'm going to have a whole bunch of stuff inside of this. And that's all going to affect the image. And if I want to do something else to affect, like, let's play around the footer, make the footer look cool. Well, I'm going to type a whole bunch of stuff into here to affect the footer. And so on and so forth. If I want to mess with the navigation, everything between those curly brackets is going to be affected by the navigation. That's the overall flow of it. Obviously, this is nonsense, or I don't know. But okay, so I want to mess with my images. Well, there's a lot of commands that you can do here, and frankly, it's unknowable how many different commands there are. So the same thing applies if you want to mess with anything with CSS. Probably your best advice is, like, if you want to say, okay, I want to mess around with my image, W3 schools. Now we're talking about CSS, and you can do like image size, right? And it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you everything that you want to know, right? So you can do like width, things like that. Let's see what that brings us to. Get out of here. So you see how they have set the height of a P element. So P, remember, is paragraph. They're talking about, oh, it wants the width of this, right? So we're going to steal like kind of that style of code. The thing I want to do with a colon, and then a value, and then a semicolon. Okay, so what I want to do is, let's say I want to do 200 pixels. Now it's going to be, before we could just say 200, and it was like, that's okay. But now we want to say 200 pixels. Just be a little bit more precise. Okay, I'm already getting ready for the bummer, because this ain't going to work. There's my beautiful French onion soup. It is still like 1 billion pixels across, not 200 pixels across. The key thing here is when I'm looking at my website, there's nothing saying like, oh, like, psst, like, how big should this image be? Go to the main CSS to figure out your website. Like, the website's not going to like read your mind. So we need to put in this line of code. And speaking of reading your mind, here's the head, here's the brain of the website. I'm just going to put this in here. I'm going to put a link. And what is this link? Oh, it's a style sheet. Cool. And how do I get there? Well, go into the CSS folder, and there'll be something called main.css. Now when I link it up, I'm going to have the image right there, and it's going to say, okay, all images, I want to have 200 pixels. Beautiful. Now all of them have a width of 200, and they all have different heights. That's because it auto, they just have different dimensions. So it said, if this is 200, well, don't distort the image, just give it whatever height. And you'll see that's calling all of the images. Well, what I could do here is I could say, like, height, I could say like 300 pixels. Well, now they're all going to be the same. But is that necessarily a good thing? Your call, whatever. The beauty of this is I can also put in things like this. I could say, instead of just doing 50, let's do 50%. Watch what that does. Okay, so here's my browser. Get off me. Get off me. So here's my browser, and you can see as I get it smaller and smaller, it wants to always be 50% of the browser size. So if it's really small, if you're on mobile, right, it's not so bad, right? And as you get bigger, okay, this is how it would look on like a tablet, like a bigger iPad, okay, cool. And then this is like full screen. So it's automatically going to fit like that. I'm going to do a whole bunch of things here real quick. I'm going to change this width to 75%. I'm going to do display block I'm going to do margin left automatic, margin right automatic. Okay, cool. Let's see what that code did. What? Cool. So what we did here is now we have this, our French onion soup takes up 75% of the page, and it's centered. So the key thing here is what made it centered. It's this margin left and margin right. If I did the margin left, let's say I wanted like margin left is like 50 pixels. Let's see how that changes everything. You see how it brought it closer to there? What it's saying here is margin pushes our item away from other things, right? So if I want to give it, you know, this right here, this distance, 50 pixels, is the distance between this image and the border. So if I want to slide slightly over, I could do 100 pixels like that, and it just slid over and just double. Guess what? Every time we do pixels, we can do this. If our image is 75% of the screen, right, then my margin on each side, if I have 25, I could do 12.5% on each side. And watch what this turns into. That's another way of formatting it, right? So our image is centered. Auto is kind of like the lazy, like I don't want to really like think about all the different measurements, because what it's going to do is just say, yeah, you know, I want to give a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and have it be the same amount. So this is like a centering move that we just did, which I just refresh it and you see that nothing changes. Okay, let's add some more code in here. How about this? Box shadow. So I'm going to do 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 2.5 pixels, and then I'm going to do this. FE 2E 2E. Okay. I hope this color is just horrible. This thing right here, this is a hexadecimal system. This is how HTML does colors, which is super weird and confusing, and it makes sense because there's a lot of different colors in the world, right? And so there's a couple letters. It's A through F that they use, so that's A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's 6 letters. And then you're going to have the 10 digits here, right? So that's 16 different digits for each one of these. So if you want to figure out all the different colors you can use, it's 16 times 16 times 16 times 16 times 16 times 16. So 16 to the 6th power, which is a lot of different colors. And we'll talk more about that in just 2 seconds. Right now I'm curious to see what this box shadow does. Ooh. So it added this like little red thing on the sides. Well, that red thing kind of looks a little weird. Let's just change it to all F's. Okay. All F's is all white. If I change it to all zeros, it's dark black, right? All zeros are the lowest ones, all F's are the brightest ones. So if I change it somewhere in the middle, so I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, like that. So if I do something in the middle, like 8, 8, 8, 8, this should be like a gray color somewhere in the middle. Do you see how my photos, and so it kind of gives like a little shadow. See how my photos kind of like are stacked on top of each other? I'm going to do a little bit of margin. Well, let's see if I can do it this way. Then I'm going to totally change how I do it. So hopefully that doesn't mess with you. So I want to do margin top. That's going to push everything that's above it just kind of away from it a little bit, right? So each image is going to say, just, hey, get off my head a little bit, right? And it'll give it a little bit of room. So I'm going to say like, let's say 30 pixels. Not much, but a little bit. Okay. Now we've got a little bit of space between there. How much space do we have? 30 pixels worth of space. Cool. The real question though is, what do these numbers do? Well, we can try it. Let's just change this to 15 and 15 and see if we can spot what it does. So here's 5 and 5. If I change those both to 15s, let's see what happens. They get farther and farther away, right? So if I change this to 25 and 25, you know, even further. So the question is then, what's this 2.5 pixel do? Well, let's double it. Let's change it to 5. See what it does. Didn't quite see a good change there. Let's just change it to 15 and see if I can make a change. Maybe you saw it. Maybe you got great eyes. Ooh. So you can see this last number controls like how fuzzy it is, right? So if I change it to 150, the fuzz factor should be plentiful. Oh, so fuzzy. So much box shadow. That looks ridiculous. So I'm going to change it back to like, I don't know, whatever. Cool. Obviously, the further away that you have these two numbers, right, this looks like the image is like way, way off the page, right? It looks like it's kind of like floating. If you're running an optical illusion website, that's totally awesome. It's kind of freaking me out, so I'm just going to take it easy. Okay, cool. So the question is, this is called a cascading style sheet. And the cascading part of it, like if you think about the word cascade, it means like, you know, you think about like waterfalls, like it just kind of flows down. And what that means is, that's the way, like your HTML is just, it's like a dumb puppy dog that wants to please you, right? And so it's just like, okay, right, I got an image. Okay, I'm gonna go to the main CSS to figure out what that image looks like. And it's just trying to please you. So it says, okay, I'll make it 75%, awesome. And then it reads, and then it reads, and it reads, and it reads. And then if I change this to 55%, right, I have like another one right here. Which one do you think it'll obey, the first command or the second command? Well, we'll see if it's, actually I'm gonna do 5%. And we'll see which one our lost little puppy dog will obey. Okay, it's called cascading because the way it flows is the very last thing is the one that's going to order. So this 75% is superseded by this 5%. If you're ever wondering like why a bit of code doesn't work, right click on it. You can go inspect element. Okay. Let me just open this up just a little bit. And anyway, so you can see our page and you can see all the stuff behind it, right? Okay, so if you go to so I clicked on the image, right? And if you go to the styles for the image, so I'm like, because if I go to header, it's going to tell me all the things that are going with the header here. If I go to the image, it'll change all this stuff. And you can see that our width of 5% is selected and our width of 75% has a line through it. That means that like it got overruled. So if you're trying a 75%, 50%, and you're like, why isn't that working? That means it's being overruled by something. What I can do is I can just unclick this one and you can view your website. Like, what if this wasn't the case, right? Same thing with like display block. See what happens if I take away display block and they're all crunched to the side like that? Block means it could be like moved around and shifted. Display block is going to be pretty crucial for us. What if I didn't have margin left? Well, then it's all going to be stuck to the right side because margin right is the only thing that's going to be affected, right? And margin right's greedy, and if it says, oh, just automatically take all I can get, well, then it's going to take everything it possibly can. So margin left, margin right, if they're automatic, man, it's good harmony, right? If I get rid of the box shadow, I can see how that looks. And same thing with the margin top. Okay. So that's kind of the flow. I want to mess with my header now. Oh, no I don't. I've got more stuff to do on image. So I'm going to do border. I'm going to do, the first thing in the border is how solid I want it to be. sorry, how thick I want it to be, and I can make it solid, right? I'm also going to do a little bit more with it. I'm going to do border color. No, no. Whoa, whoa. Border color. Let's try. What do I want to try? Let's try 0, 0, 0. You guys remember what color 0, 0, 0 is? Think of the color real quick and see if you're right. It's black. It's black. Definitely black. It was always black. So now that I'll add a little border around there, well, I can change this to make it 20 pixels, and it'll look ridiculous, but we're just exploring. Look how nice. Actually, that doesn't look so bad. It looks like a fine. I'm going to keep it. It endeared me. This solid thing right here can be a lot of different values. I just want to show you here. Let's go W3 schools border styles. Okay, so right now we have border style solid. We know about solid, but what we want is to know about all the different ones. Let's see here. Here we go. Property values. We can do hidden, dotted, dashed. Let's try dotted. Okay. Usually with CSS, especially with Sublime, Sublime's awesome for this. If it's like blue or purple or red, it means like you probably did like a good job. If it's a white, you probably did something. Like dote, it's like not really recognizing it as something. Dotted, now we're recognizing it as something. It's not always the case, but we'll see. So now that's dotted, and you know I think there's dashed and things like that. So dashes kind of giving me headaches. I'm gonna stick with solid. There are some other ones that are. What are the other ones? Oh yeah, groove. We get our groove on. Sure. Let's see how that one looks. No, I don't want to refresh that page. I want to refresh this page. Groove didn't really do much. Okay. So what you want is like if you want to like play with these, just do like the play it thing, and you can see the different colors, like the difference between ridge and groove and all these ones. Like outset, you see that one. Cool. Same thing here. Mess with the colors. All right. Now I'm going to work with my header, and my header is, let's just kind of review on my page. That's these three things right here, and they just kind of look like junk. So I want to spice that up a whole bunch. So I want to do float left. All right, what that means is I can accomplish all of this to the left right here, and then it's going to put the next thing on the right. Float means that it's something now that can be moved around. And I want to do. All right, guys. Sorry, I was running out of time. So on the video, so I just filled in some things real quick. So my header, like I said, float left. I gave myself a little border color, and I gave myself a width for it, and made it outset. I gave myself a background color. Let's see what this color is, and I gave myself a width. If it was just floating left, kind of the image is creeped up, so I gave it a width so those pictures can slide up next to it, and you'll see what it kind of looks like here. Right? You can see now we have this this header that goes all the way across. Now you notice there's a little bit of room right here. We'll talk about that in the next video. And there's not so much room in between there. We'll talk about that in the next video. Feel free to play around with all the values, and W3 Schools, guys, just look it up. It's awesome. Anything that you can imagine, you can do there.